of the things that people often ask me when I talk about this, they're so hungry for information about AI and what it can do. But they always ask, what are the specific use cases?
Like my whole thing is like, whenever we talk to executives, like no one buys AI. Right?
Mm.
Who's out there being like,
no
I'll
one's
take
selling AI.
5 of the AI things, you know? So I think it is about use cases, and the practicality and the way that people are using these things is basically the essence of really where businesses are going to derive value. I mean, the advice we always say is like, it's great, and sometimes it's fun to ideate like where you could put an autonomous agent, but sometimes that's not going to necessarily derive the biggest value for your organization. Yeah. And so the advice we always say is like, let's sort of ideate or map out the places that have the most data or the most high volume or the most strenuous admin tasks, because that's where autonomous agents can kind of deliver really fast value. But the areas that we see are either in service or pre-sales, you know, an area where historically has been an area for high admin, high volume, and sometimes really hard for businesses to keep up with, particularly around high demand that they're seeing from their customers.
I think it's well known that there's a maturity curve for agentic use cases for businesses, you know, like having a chatbot service, customer service requirements, things like that. Those things are very expected, and those are things you should tackle early on in the life cycle. But there's really cool use cases we're seeing. So an idea that we have been playing with is having a game through WhatsApp using an agent that is playing the game with the customer, because now you've got a lot more flexibility in what an agent can do. Before, you would have had to hard code the entire game. Now it's like you give them a task and an objective, and they have intention, and they can follow a high level script to play the game. So I think that's the thing that I really love, is if you get through those basic use cases, they all are the same project, and then start thinking, what else can we do with this? And that's where it gets really exciting.
And perhaps where the real power in the unlock comes from areas that they don't necessarily have the skills or expertise. One of them being like the ability to code, you know, or custom code things within even Salesforce. And essentially with that, like, companies now can take an idea and turn it into reality within seconds. Wow. And I think that was particularly in SMBs, where perhaps there has been a skill gap or perhaps a lag to get that skill in their business. Now it's readily available and accessible. Yeah. And that is truly the power, I think, behind some of these agents.